Hey guys, it is Lupe here from Team Empire, and today we have another deck profile. It's a little different than usual. There hasn't been any tops recently with, I haven't gotten any tops recently with this deck, so it's kind of like my, time stamping deck profile, where I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. I wanted to give my final thoughts on Blitz Welstra before we get his new Divines form, since the last support we have for the Overdress series will be the Triple Dry booster, and there's nothing in there that changes the build. So I just kind of wanted to give my final thoughts on what his build is before his Divine form comes out, since Welstra is one of my favorite decks in the whole game in any format. I really love this deck. I really love Welstra himself. He's just such a great boss for having such a simple skill of just operating and reducing your opponent's power. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it, and I'll be covering with my deck list, additional cards that I think people could run instead if they don't really like what I have, and just kind of give my thoughts overall on how he is going into Divines with his final set. So starting off with, we have the ride line. We have the standard ride line. The starter can be anything. I just put the Gravidio on since I have an extra SP of it. Then you need Strazer to fetch the grade 1 product when he's ridden upon by Uber. You need Uber to fetch the grade 2 product when he's ridden upon by Welstra. And then Uber is also really nice for being able to operate in the Act phase, which the new Uber will operate in the Battle phase, which is a little bit better. So yeah, just the standard ride line. Nothing real too special to say about it. Then we'll start off with the grade 3s. We have 3 of our Max, or Five Fits Maximum. Sorry, Max is a Spikes Brothers card. To me, you only need 3. You could get away with only 2 if you really want it, but that's leaving it a lot up to chance, especially without the Divine form. You really need to go for like the 5 attack some turns just to win. So trying to get out 2 as fast as possible really helps. 4 is a little bit bricky in my opinion, so we only run 3. And then we just, to finish off our grade 3s, run the extra 3 copies of Persona Ride, since Persona Ride is very strong in any deck, but especially in Welstra, since your attackers don't really gain power. Your power gaining is your power gain is just through minusing your opponent's power. So you're not really gaining any power yourself, but you are technically gaining it by reducing your opponent's power. So the extra 10k for Persona actually really does help a lot and is really important to closing out games. Then we'll go over the grade 2s. Starting off with the product again, we have 4 of Ubetzel. Ubetzel is one of the best products, if not the best product, of being able to draw you a card and feel soul charged. You're thinning 2 cards from your deck right away. You want to have one of these in your opening hand when you mull, because if you do not have one to set turn 2, you are mega behind in the game. With Uber, you really want to operate this card to superior call from your deck. So yeah, you really need to have one of these in your hand when you're opening. Then for other grade 2s, I run 3 copies of Hofleo. Hofleo is actually still very solid of a card, being able to operate on turn 2. So on turn 2, you just call him down, use his skill. You will operate Ubetzel to superior call 1 card from your deck, and then you use Uber's skill to operate again, thinning another card from your deck. And he says he has to be the very first operation of the turn to use his skill. But no matter what, if you operate during the turn, he'll get plus 5k. He only gets it once, but he gets plus 5k until the end of that turn, so he'll be at 13k, which can really help, especially in the meta right now where we have a lot of grade 2 gaming going on with stride deck sets. So yeah, I think Hofleo is actually a very strong card still to have. And he helps just being able to, on turn 3, you can call him down and help fish for another copy of Freiheit if you only have 1. Or if you don't have any copies of Freiheit, you help fish for it. And then for some other grade 2s, I run 2 copies of Brigina. Brigina just basically fulfills the same role as Hofleo for me, but sometimes you do need that extra draw. So her second skill of being able to Soul Blast 2 when another card operates a product once per turn to just draw can come up, and it's pretty strong, but it's also, the deck is very soul heavy, so I don't really use her second skill that much. It's basically just to fish for Freiheit, because if you do not have Freiheit, you basically auto lose. And the man himself to finish up the grade 2s is Freiheit. We run 4 copies. Freiheit is a must-have in this deck. you desperately need to see Freiheit at least one copy to have any sort of game plan on turn 3. So yeah, you need the full 4 of. His skill is just so strong for the deck. And what's really cool is that if you already have maximum in hand, you can CB. What I like to do is with this search skill, I won't grab Persona Ride, I'll grab Ubetzel. And then so superior set maximum, and then I'll set Ubetzel for turn, trying to fill up my hand more because Welstra does have a problem with hand advantage. And you're filling up soul to use for his skill, especially when you want to use his skill every turn. So that's 2 soul a turn at least if you only have 1, 4 soul a turn if you have 2 of them. So you need to fill soul as much as possible. Then we'll move on to the grade 1s. Starting off with our product, we just run 1 of the mobile kennel. Some lists run 2, but I think running 2 is kind of bricky. I don't think you need anything more than 1. It does suck if it can get damaged, but putting 2, in my opinion, is just a little bit bricky. Again, the deck doesn't really have any hand advantage, so you need to kind of put as much attackers or operators as you can. Units just have shield, really. So we just run the 1 of. It's very, very rare that it gets damaged. Also, sorry, I didn't know right there, had a lot of glare. But yeah, just the 1 kennel. Then I like to run 4 copies of Eins. I think Eins is super, super important to Welstra. Even the divine form of Welstra, I think Eins needs to be in there at least at a 3 of. But if he can find the space for the 4, he needs to be in there at a 4. For those of y'all that don't know what Eins does, his skill is auto. When your grade 2 or greater set order is put into the order zone, put him in the soul and then draw a card. So he's really good because you can call him down early. You can rush with him. You can have him be a booster. And then if you need to draw right away on turn 2 when you set Ubetzel from hand, you can just move him into soul. Or if you need to draw on turn 3 because you have, let's say you have no attackers, if he's still on your field from turn 2, you put him in the soul when you superior set Ubetzel. So you're going to be drawing 3 cards right there, 1 off of Ubetzel's skill. If you had 2 of these, you draw 2 of them. Or what I really like to use him for is have them as boosters, and at the end of my turn maximums, go back to the order zone, move them into soul then, and draw additional cards going into my next turn. That way, if you're going to have a chance of drawing triggers, you kind of have a chance to draw them at the end of your turn, let's say instead of ruining your drive checks. And he goes into the soul, which helps so much for Freiheit. I see a lot of people, they run like Iskra instead, or they like run another card I'll show later instead to help with the drawing, but it always uses soul or CB. So Eins is perfect because he's giving you soul and he draws you a card. So you just keep filling your soul up for Freiheit, and then you're drawing while also doing it. So to me, Eins is super, super strong, super important card. He's basically Inlet Pulse for Brant. Granted, not every deck can use him the way Inlet Pulse is always used in Stoicheia decks, but Welstra makes perfect use out of him. So I highly recommend putting 4 copies of him in. Then moving on from our grade 1s, 4 copies of Bulba Mine and 1 copy of the Blitz Countercharger. To me, Bulba Mine is still the best one because you can just use him at the end of your turn. He kind of goes away. But I do run 1 of this guy instead because there are times where you do need that kind of like mandatory soul charge right away, or counter charge, I mean. So it's really good if you need it right then and there using Freiheit skill. And then let's say he's already on board. When you set maximum, superior set it, he'll just go into the soul and give you counter charge. Whereas with Bulba Mine, doing that same combo, you would have to have him behind Freiheit boost and then move him in the soul. So they both have their little advantages, but I prefer Bulba Mine a lot more as compared to this guy. But really, I think that just comes down to player preference. I've seen some that have it the reversed way, to where it's 4 of this guy and 1 Bulba Mine. But I think you need Bulba Mine. Some people also do like a 4-3 where he has 3 copies of him, but I mean, Eins is really important, so he takes up most of my slots. So yeah, we have 5 counter chargers, and Bulba Mine is probably our best one. Been that way since Brant sent 1 goated card. Then we run 1 Synthetica. Synthetica is actually really strong in this card since you're going to be getting rid of your ride deck anyways from your souls due to Freiheit skill. So you can actually use it to get the 20k shield off really fast. Or sometimes you have to pitch maximum to ride up. which kind of sucks if let's say one's already been damaged, you only have one to grab from deck, but you want to go for that 5 attack combo. She can just grab right back for you, and then Freiheit will superior set it after you grab either Persona or Rebetzel. So yeah, one synthetic just in case, pretty strong. Not everyone always expects you to run the cat, so it can just be a really nice one card guard. And then finishing off our grade 1s, we run 4 PGs. Elementaria is a must-have in this current meta. There's 4 Stride deck sets that can be running around. Really, there's only 2, but yeah, you need Elementaria and then just 3 of effect PGs. No reason to run like the monster PGs. Then going on to triggers, we have a very standard lineup. We have our 1 Elder Breath because the brand OT is goated. We run 3 draws because we need to see our Freiheit, or at least an operator that can fish for Freiheit. So 3 copies of draw. There's sometimes where I debate putting 4 of, but the deck can deck out pretty fast with how fast you soul charge and like kind of draw on the deck with Ein. So we only put 3. Then we run 8 crit, 4 that go to soul because it does come up again. The deck does use 2 to 4 soul every turn, sometimes 6 if you're using Brigina also. So I mean that's 6 soul in one turn. So you need as many cards that can go to soul as possible, and then just 4 of any other regular crit. I just like the main green crits. Then we do 4 copies of heals, obviously, but I do 1 restander counter heal instead of 2. You could argue to do a 2-2 split, but since Welstra kind of struggles already with hand advantage, if I'm not facing Shiranui, I'd rather have a 15k shield instead of a 10k shield. So I just do it a 3-1 instead. But yeah, that is my deck, my build of Welstra. It works really well against like Shiranui right now because everything kind of clears itself. Or with maximum, you'll bounce the cards that don't clear themselves back to hand. So if you end up going first, let's say you lose the die roll and they make you go first, or you win the die roll and you want to go first for some reason, you have a really good matchup going into their first stride because you'll clear your board and there's nothing for them to dominate. And Welstra can also grade 2 game. I don't really recommend it, but I have been situations where I have to because I think you should only ride up if you have Freiheit. So cards like Hofleo are really good for helping with the grade 2 game because as long as you keep seeing him, you have Uber and him to operate 2 times a turn, so you can keep calling out Mobile Mines, you can keep calling out the Blitz Countercharger, you can keep calling out Eins to just help with the grade 2 game. Again, I don't really recommend it. You kind of want to ride up because they can't really keep up with your power neg, or if they can, they're either eating a lot of damage or they're wasting cards. So either way, you'll be set up for your follow-up turn. Hopefully it'll be your Persona Ride turn. So yeah, I think Welstra, he's still pretty good rogue pick. He's not meta anymore like he was when Freiheit first came out, but to me it's still a very strong and fun rogue pick. And he is going to be getting a divine form recently. I have the sleeves for it. And then I have those, so I'm really excited. And now we're going to go into some alternate cards I think you could run if you really wanted to. One of them being Iskra. Iskra is still a pretty solid card. If you're not going to be running Eins, or if you don't want to run Hofleo, since he isn't on play only, you can run Iskra. If it fills the same purpose as Hofleo, you're just going to CB, rest, operate. You're looking for Eins if you're on turn 2, or if you're on turn 3, you're looking for Freiheit, because again, you need Freiheit. Without Freiheit, you basically auto lose. It's very, very hard because you'll only be operating Ubetzel to draw. Which, I mean, a draw is really nice, but you want maximum to get another attack out. Another card I've seen some people run is Schwarzer. He's like Eins's, I guess he's technically a Legion mate. He does, instead of going to soul to draw, he just gets plus 10k power. As long as a rear guard is retired by the ability of your card in the set order, or in the order zone. So some people say that Welstra does lack attack power, which he kind of does if you're not on Persona Ride. So this guy without Persona Ride is a 20k beater while your opponent's nagged. On Persona Ride is a 30k beater. So if you're really worried about your numbers, I don't think Zwell is a bad choice. And another card I've seen some people play is the Blitznaff, the one that people mostly run in prison, just for some drawing. But again, it's using Soul, so to me, Eins is just a lot better because Ainz will actually, not only will he draw you a card, but he's also giving you soul, which soul is your most valuable and important resource in this deck. So I would much rather run Ainz instead of her, but I also can understand why some people put her instead. I guess if you really want the more aesthetic, then yeah, since she has a Blitz staff, but to me Ainz is just better because he's giving you soul while drawing, to where she's taking soul away for a draw. And then again, as well, is just for better numbers. And then Iskra is just if you don't really like Hopefleo's cost. Because Hopefleo with Uber, that's 2 soul, which that is pretty hefty in the deck. But I mean, you're thinning at that point 2 cards from your deck, 4 with Ubetzel, because we'll draw 1, soul charge 1. Call, Hopefleo use his skill, then a Spirit Call of cards, that's 3 cards thin from deck. And use Uber's skill and a Spirit Call again, that's 4 cards thin from deck. But yeah, guys, this was my deck profile for Welstra before Blitz. I just really love the deck, and I kind of wanted to give my final thoughts on it before the Divines unit comes out. Some cards to pick up that will still see play in the Divines one that's not like player preference. You definitely need Ubetzel. You need Maximum. Mobile Mines. At least one of that. You need your copies of Freiheit. These are like your must-haves right here, because everything else at that point will really come down to like player preference. This could also be if you really wanted the thematic countercharger, but really they both fulfill the same thing at the end of the day. And then another card that I think, some cards I think you should still run is one Synthetica, just for the same reasoning. And then I think Ainz definitely should still be ran in the deck. So yeah, guys, this is just my deck profile. Sorry if it's a little bit of rambling at some points, but again, I just really love this deck and kind of wanted to give my final thoughts on it before the faded one comes out. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. I hope you enjoy Welstra as much as I do, and I will catch y'all in the next one.